My family grew up in Syria Homs. We experienced harmful and dangerous situations. When my family and I were living in Homs, a small town in Syria, we were not only disadvantaged of education and shelter, but also the basic essential of life. As a 14-year-old girl, I was afraid something dangerous would happen to my family. I was very cautious and tried my best to keep my family safe. Most people had escaped death or injury hiding underground with no food or electricity. We had little to no food in our community. Our so-called home did not look like one. We are a family of 5, and there was only one bedroom with one washroom. As civilians, the most frightening thing that we experienced was random bombing against us. We got attacked for doing absolutely nothing wrong. We wanted to leave homes to be more safe in a safe environment, have proper education so we can learn on our own. We were in Homs. When we were in Homs, my brother and I got sick. We had no access to health care. We had to take care of ourselves on our own. More than half of the country's hospital and healthcare centers are closed. I knew that whatever was going to happen, I needed to keep my family safe.
One of the main obstacles with moving to Canada was finding a job. My mother spoke no English and couldn't find a job. However, my father did find one, but it was a struggle with the language barrier. We also struggled to find a house that was suitable for our family but still affordable. We ended up with a 2-bedroom house with one washroom. Me and my siblings shared a bedroom, even though it was a struggle we made it work. When we tried moving around using buses, subways, and taxis, it was much different than Syria. We often got off at the wrong stops and took longer routes to places. When it first snowed in Canada, me and my family were super excited. However, we did not notice the weather differences in Canada. We were not ready at all. We were so used to the warmth of the sun, but that wasn't the case here in Canada. We didn't dress well for the weather at all. Getting used to a new environment was hard, but overall, me and my family are very grateful.
When me and my family got affected by the purposeless bombing that occurred in our hometown homes, it left us with no place to live, and that is when we realized we had to leave immediately and have a fresh start somewhere else where there are no random bombings and civilians aren't getting tortured for no absolute reason. After some research and consideration, we came to a conclusion, which was that we should move to Canada. It was much more reliable than our current living situation. Canada is a lot more intact than Syria, since Syria was established 79 years after Canada, which means Canada is much more safer in every way, like natural disasters, conflicts and wars, crimes such as robbery, kidnapping, and assault. For example, Canada has only one major natural disaster every 10 years, compared to Syria, where they have it much more frequently. Also, Canada's last war took place on August of 1914, whereas Syria's last war took place only back in April 2012. This goes to show how much secure Canada is. Since we have a family of 5, healthcare is super important to us. Canada has free healthcare, and they rank 3rd in health as well as 17th in life expectancy, which is an average of 81 years. Because we have 3 kids, something that was a must was good education so we can allow our kids to have better opportunities than we had growing up. Canada's education is mostly funded by the government, which is convenient since we don't have much money. The Canadian education system is considered to be one of the best in the world. Overall, we chose to move to Canada since it's the second best country for sustainability and on average is better when it comes to both air pollution and water quality measures.
When my family first arrived in Canada, we got our fingerprints taken and documented. After they documented us and we passed our identity check, they stamped our passports and told us how long we got to stay in Canada. We were welcomed by many people in the airport. My family got to take our items and we left the airport to check into a hotel.